I want to be honest with you right at the start. This reading is not a light one. The energy I felt the moment I started shuffling was heavy. It was the kind of heaviness that comes from someone who has been hurt by another person on purpose and is still trying to make sense of what happened. If you clicked on this, I think you already know the situation. Somebody did something that broke this connection. Not by accident, not because life got in the way. They did something. They created a problem where there wasn't one. They lit a match in a room you thought was safe. And the part you've been trying to understand is why. Why would somebody who cared about you do something so deliberate to damage what you had? I'm going to tell you what Spirit is showing me. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Let me pull these. The first thing coming through is the part you already know, but maybe haven't said out loud to yourself yet. What they did was on purpose. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a miscommunication. It wasn't them being stressed and lashing out. There was a specific moment where they made a choice to say the thing, to do the thing, to bring up the other person, to start the fight that didn't need to start, to withdraw exactly when you needed them present. Whatever the specific shape it took for you, and you know exactly what it was, they did it knowingly. And I think part of you has been gaslighting yourself a little, trying to find a reasonable explanation, trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because the alternative, that someone you cared about deliberately damaged something good, is harder to sit with. Sit with it. It's true. They did it on purpose. Knowing that is the first step out of the fog. Spirit is showing me something important about why they did it, though. And I want you to hear this not as an excuse for them, but as information for you. Underneath the sabotage was a question they couldn't ask out loud. The question was, would you still love me if I showed you my worst? That's it. That's what the whole thing was about. They didn't have the words. They didn't have the emotional vocabulary to just turn to you and say, I'm scared of how much I'm feeling. I'm scared you'll leave. I need to know you won't. They couldn't do that. So instead of asking the question, they engineered a situation that would force the answer. They made themselves harder to love on purpose, to see if you'd love them anyway. They created the conditions of the test, because the test was the only language they knew how to speak. It's a deeply broken way to ask for reassurance. I'm not defending it. I'm telling you what it was, because I think understanding what it actually was will help you stop blaming yourself for any part of it. You didn't fail their test. They failed themselves by needing one in the first place. They had a whole expectation of how you were going to respond to what they did, like a script, a whole little choreography in their head of how this was going to play out. They expected you to chase, to beg, to send the long message asking what's wrong, to cry, to over-explain yourself, to prove your love by enduring the bad behavior, to stay loyal through the test. That was the response they were betting on. And honestly, the version of you from 2 years ago, even 1 year ago, probably would have given them that. They knew the old you. They knew that version of you was so committed, so willing to fight for love, so afraid of losing them that you'd do whatever it took to repair the damage they had created. But they weren't dealing with the old you. That's the part they didn't account for. What you actually did stopped them in their tracks. You got quiet. Just quiet. You didn't perform a reaction. You didn't perform unbothered either. That's a different kind of trying. You just stopped. Stopped chasing. Stopped explaining. Stopped trying to translate your love into a language they could finally understand. You let the damage they created sit there as the damage it was. You didn't run over with a broom to sweep it up like you usually would. For a lot of you, this wasn't even a strategy. You weren't sitting there thinking, I'm going to teach them a lesson by going silent. You were just tired. You were so tired of being the person who keeps fixing what other people break. And tired became your response. And tired turned out to be the most powerful response you could have had. Because tired is real. They could feel that it was real. Tired isn't performance. Tired is the sound of someone hitting the end of what they can carry. And when they felt that, something cracked in their chest. The script they had written in their head had no scene for what you did. There was a specific moment they realized you weren't coming back the way they expected you to. It was a Wednesday-ish, maybe a Thursday. Evening. They were doing something ordinary, getting ready for bed, sitting in their car after work, putting something away, and the thought hit them. They're not going to text. And then a second thought right after it. They're really not going to text. And then a third thought that was the worst one. I might have actually done this. That was the moment the stomach drop happened. The moment the air left them a little. They probably covered it up immediately, got busy with something, put their phone face down, tried not to feel it. But the feeling didn't leave. It's still there. It's been there ever since. Spirit is showing me they have not slept the same since that moment. There's a restlessness around them now that they didn't have before. Their sleep is broken in the middle of the night. They wake up at some early hour, could be around 3 or 4 in the morning, and the first thought is you. They lie there in the dark, trying to push the thought away. It doesn't push away. It just sits there. I want to tell you what version of this story they're telling other people, because I think you need to know. They're not telling the truth. Not fully. They're telling a version where they were the reasonable one and you changed. Where they were just trying to figure out where things stood and you suddenly went cold. Where they don't really know what happened. Where it's confusing for them too. The closest friend they have, and they have one specific person they've been talking to about this. That friend isn't fully buying the story. The friend has been giving them the look. The, yeah, okay, but what did you do look. And they've been brushing it off, trying to redirect the conversation, getting a little defensive when the friend pushes too hard. But the friend knows. The friend has been around long enough to know how this person operates. The friend has seen this pattern before with other people. And here's the thing. Even while they're spinning the story for other people, they know the real version underneath. They're aware. They're not fooling themselves the way they're trying to fool everyone else. The story they tell out loud is for protection. The story they sit with at 3 a.m. is the true one. Spirit is giving me a direct message from them right now. I'm just going to say it the way it's coming through. I thought I knew you. I thought I could push and you would push back. I thought I could test the edges and you would always stay inside them with me. I didn't think you would actually leave. Not really. And now I'm sitting with the fact that I made the thing happen that I was most afraid of. I created the very thing I was trying to prevent. And the worst part is I can't even be angry at you because you didn't do anything. You just stopped giving me what I was taking for granted. And in the space where you used to be, there's just me. And I don't really like being alone with me right now. I'm sorry. I haven't said it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to say it the way I should. But I'm sorry. And I miss you. And I was wrong. That's the message. Whether they ever say it to you or not, that's what's true underneath. That's the energy. Spirit is showing me a younger version of this person. A version of them from way before they ever met you. This pattern they have, the testing, the sabotaging, the pulling away to see if you'll come closer, it didn't start with you. This is old. This is from before. Somewhere along the way, probably as a child, this person learned that love wasn't reliable. Somebody important to them showed them that love came and went, that it had to be earned, that it could be taken away suddenly without warning. And they built a defense system around that. The defense system was, test the love before you let yourself trust it. It's not an excuse. I want to be clear. Understanding why someone hurts you doesn't oblige you to forgive them or take them back. The why is just information. It helps you see that what they did wasn't really about you. It was about a wound they've been carrying since they were small that they have never let anyone help them heal. You were not the cause of the sabotage. You were the audience for a pattern that's been running inside them long before you arrived. A reach out is coming. Spirit is showing me this very clearly. They are building up to it, slowly, carefully. They have rehearsed what they're going to say. They've drafted messages and deleted them. They've imagined running into you. They've thought about 100 different ways to break the silence and ruled out 99 of them. The one they're going to land on is going to be soft, lower stakes than what they actually want to say. They're going to test the temperature first before going deeper. It might come through as something casual, a like on something, a view, a small message that doesn't reference what happened, some indirect way of saying, "Hi, I'm here. Will you respond?" That's the soft reach. That's them trying to see if the door is open, even a crack, before they walk up to it. I want to be honest with you about what this reach out actually is. It's not an apology yet. It's a temperature check. And if you treat the temperature check like an apology, if you respond warmly to it as though they've already accounted for what they did, you let them off the hook for the real conversation that still needs to happen. Don't do that. If they're going to come back, they have to come all the way back, not just to the threshold. You decide what you want to do with the reach out when it comes. Just know what it actually is when you see it. The whole dynamic has flipped, and the choice belongs to you now. That's the part I want you to fully feel. You're not the one waiting anymore. You're not the one wondering what they're going to do. You're not the one tracking their moods, decoding their messages, trying to figure out where you stand. They are doing those things now. They are the one with the question in their stomach. They are the one waiting to see what you'll do. The position you used to be in, they're sitting in it. And it is not a comfortable position. You know because you lived in it. What you do with that power is up to you. You can let them back in if they come back correctly, with real accountability, real change, the real conversation. You can decide that the trust is too damaged and let them stay where they are. You can take more time before you decide anything. All of those are real options. None of them are wrong. The only thing I want you to not do is rush. You don't owe anyone a fast decision. You don't owe anyone the version of yourself you used to be. The person you've become through this experience, quieter, clearer, less willing to bleed for someone who doesn't bleed back, keep her. Whatever happens next, don't trade her for anything. I want to close with one thing, because I think you need to hear it. Your silence wasn't coldness. Your silence wasn't a strategy. Your silence wasn't you trying to teach them a lesson or play a game back at them. Your silence was a boundary. Maybe the first real one you ever set with this person. You finally stopped paying the bill for someone else's emotional behavior. You finally stopped being the bottomless well they could draw from, no matter how badly they treated the source. And that's not coldness. That's love for yourself. The first love most of us learn last. The love that says, "I will not abandon me, not even for someone I cared about." Whatever happens next, you already did the most important thing. You chose yourself in a moment where choosing yourself was the hardest possible thing to do. Everything from here is just consequence of that one decision. They feel it. The universe felt it. You felt it, even if you didn't have words for it at the time. Your love was never weakness. Your patience was never weakness. Your softness was never weakness. They were strength all along. And the moment you stopped offering them to someone who didn't honor them, that was the moment you got your power back. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.